Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. It sounds like the woman in our first story is ashamed of the fact that she's an alcoholic. She knows it, but she can't stop. Regardless of money, you probably have a happier life than her, OP. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with a turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Belligerent woman refers to me as minimum wage guy and similar variants. I'm back with another tale from your friendly neighborhood convenience store. This one happened around 9 years ago. A middle-aged woman who's very clearly an alcoholic stammers in to purchase a ton of beer, and I mean a lot of beer. I start up a conversation while she peruses our front candy racks. Me, having a party tonight? I ask this because of the quantity of beer, plus the candy, plus chips and soda. I didn't think this was a bad thing to ask, but apparently it was. Woman, excuse me, you have no right to judge me or what I buy. I make 6 figures. If you must know, it's mostly for me. I hope you're happy now, minimum wage boy. The store owner's pretty strict about our relations with customers. Unfortunately, I had hoped that wouldn't be the case since this isn't a corporate establishment, but I digress. The point is that we can't turn anyone away unless they're doing something illegal, so I trudge on for this grouch. I've just finished bagging her merchandise after she seemingly calmed down. Great, she was going to be out of my hair any moment now. But then the screaming comes. Woman, you're not even going to offer a discount? After your poor service, Mr. $7.25 an hour? I still have to pay full price? Me. I'm sorry, ma'am, but we only offer a discount for veterans and seniors. There's no way I can grant you one. My manager would need to do that, though it's unlikely he would. Woman. Fetch him for me. Yes, fetch, because we're all dogs here, woof. Me. He's not here at the moment, I'm afraid. He'll be in tomorrow morning when we open, however. You can come in then and explain the situation. For now, you'll need to pay full price. Woman. Fine. She throws a wad of bills at me and like 40 pennies, which I take my time counting. Finally, she leaves with her stuff and in a huff. Next day, I'm told she came in as soon as the store opened to get her discount, complained even more to my manager about how she stood outside for half an hour waiting for us to open. Our hours are posted on the effing door, and was turned down for a discount. That made me feel better. Also, I should note that I make a bit more than the minimum wage, but it wouldn't have been worth explaining to her. The crazy bat probably would have gotten even more hostile. And our second story. How I caused a Karen to question herself and scared a second in one day. Some backstory. I work at a hotel of a particular franchise that has national and international locations. I work night shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., also known as the graveyard shift. I've even earned the reputation and gained the work nickname as the Zombie, especially when the hotel has staff meetings at 1 p.m. when I'm usually in bed sleeping. While the day shifts typically wear very nice clothing, my dress code is somewhat loosened. I wear an old uniform, which is a blue shirt with the company logo. This is important. With a name tag and dress pants. Very frequently after work, especially on days that I need to restock my pantry at my apartment, I often travel to a local mini Walmart, you know the kind, as it's on my way home. This location knows me enough that I come at a near regular appearance on certain days and times. I've been exceptionally fortunate for 7 years that I've not had the luxury of being picked on a Karen, as I live in a state full of them. That changed last month when I encountered 2 Karens in one visit. Quick important note, it dawned on me this particular day that most, if not all, Karens within my particular state are super into a particular version of Christianity and will use the Bible and or God/Jesus to try and get their way. Now on to the meat of the story. If there's one thing I despise about my shifts, it's this. My reliefs rarely show up on time for their shift. The upside? Overtime for me. The downside? My sleep is delayed even more. On this particular day, my relief was over an hour late. However, the circumstances of their being late could have easily been avoided with a simple alarm. So my mental energy was not very high, if at all. On top of it all, it was grocery day for me. I feel horrible for the staff already. After driving very carefully to the mini Walmart, I got my shopping cart and began grabbing groceries for my stocks, keeping in mind I wear a full blue work shirt, much like the staff at most Walmart locations. The only difference is that they also wear a green vest over the blue shirt. I begin getting my groceries, always starting with the sodas. As I turn the aisle to the next item on my list, I hear the dreaded sound of not one, but two Karens down the aisle berating a customer. One eventually looks at me while I was grabbing some snacks for the upcoming weeks. The other Karen eventually heads down another aisle. Turns out they're not there together. Karen 1. Hey, about time you arrived. I didn't react nor respond to Karen 1 as I grabbed my preferred snacks. Karen 1. Hey, I'm talking to you. I let out a zombie-like groan from Diablo 2, and it caused Karen 1 to be very startled. Leaning into a look her way in a very zombie-like manner, I stared at her for a few seconds. Karen 1 looked terrified at my low mental energy state and did the best thing for me. She turned around and left, more than likely with a tiny portion of her list. That little encounter gave me a bit more energy as I felt a tad better. Karen 2, on the other hand, would be a different beast altogether. Feeling somewhat better, I then resumed my shopping until I heard the familiar screech of the second Karen I saw earlier. Karen 2, just point the way to a... Oh, there's an employee who can be of assistance, unlike you, ungrateful cretin. I thought, did that bee just say that? I looked at the Karen and noticed the very big cross on her neck, as well as the crosses that are embroidered on her purse and her cart. Oh, just perfect, I chuckled to myself. Karen 2, pushing her cart towards me. Excuse me, your coworkers are so rude here. I was hoping that you can show me where I can find a specific item. Me. I'm afraid I don't know what that is, and I seriously doubt that this place even sells it. Karen 2. That's not very helpful from you. Me. What do you want me to do? I don't work here, and you can't make me. Karen 2, still upset from previous interaction. Your blue shirt says otherwise. Me, chuckling while groaning. Opposes the arrogant, graces the humble. Karen 2, indignant. What's that supposed to mean? Me, mumbling to myself. Why now of all times? Why now? Karen 2, getting red in the face. Now, do you know where I can find specific item? Me, a bit forcefully. As I have stated, I doubt this place sells it. Also, I do not work here, so I can't even confirm that assessment. Karen 2, don't get smart with me, you jerk. Just tell me where it is in the store. Finally, a store employee of a higher rank enters the field of view, and the Karen begins berating him. Supervisor, ma'am, can I help? Karen 2, where can I find specific item? Supervisor, I don't think we even sell that at this location. You may have to go to one of our larger locations. Karen 2, very mad now. I know you guys have it here, and your employees, pointing to the two of us, are being exceptionally rude to me to find it. Supervisor, ma'am, this gentleman does not... Karen 2, livid. He's wearing a blue shirt. I point to the company logo and name on my shirt, at which the Karen slowly realizes that she was in a losing fight. Karen 2, seeing the logo and realizes she's talking to someone she already met. Wait a minute, are you the guy who worked at midnight at hotel? Me, as I finally recognize her. Well, that explains the attitude more. The Karen's now humiliated. I checked her in during my shift at my hotel. She checked in with an attitude I couldn't describe well. She was very nice, but had a slightly uppity tone that put me off for a strange reason. Karen 2. I'm so sorry, OP. I didn't sleep well. Me, nerves calming down, mental energy still extremely low, opposes the arrogant, graces the humble. Karen 2 recognizes the quotes, a Bible verse, 1 Peter 5:5. Me. Not just the Bible, but every culture around the world has some iteration of that. Supervisor. It's a good lesson. I turned away to resume my shopping. I've not seen either Karen since that day. Love that second Karen got put in her place for her mistake. Glad you twice told her that quote. And our last story. Neighbors are trying to sell a piece of our land. Backstory. I live with my family on about 50 acres of property in Georgia. My great-grandfather left this property to my father when he died. All in all, it's been in the family for about 35 years. He bought the land in small increments. By doing this, he ended up buying most of the land surrounding someone else's land. He made the land much better by building a road, paying for power lines to be put in, building a house on the property, etc. The landlocked land was completely empty. My great-grandfather offered to sell an easement to the owner of the other property several times, as well as give him access to the power lines. as well as give him access to the power lines and well he had commissioned for well under market value. The guy never used the land, though, and declined. We never had an issue with him, but we've always had issues with his kids trying to trespass on our property to get to theirs. We've been living on it for about 10 years. It sat empty for about 10 years before that, with family just coming to take care of the land and the house on the weekends. We were constantly catching the kids going up to the property to smoke, drink, and throw parties. We have several no trespassing signs that they would just ignore. We've made several calls to the police about them. The original owner has since passed, and the kids are trying to sell the property. We're constantly having people drive up our road, our driveway's about a half-mile long, to go look at the property. We tell each one that we catch that there's no easement and that they're on private property. Each one tells us that the seller's advertising that there is an easement. I want to reiterate that we tried selling this family an easement, but they refused to buy one, and now they're advertising that they have one. Update. We're adding the signs, cameras, and upgrading the fence. My dad went and got a copy of the deeds from our property and the landlocked property. Turns out that the landlocked property has an easement from the third-party property. He does not have one through our property. The seller of the landlocked property is telling people it's through our property, though, because we have a road and the other one does not. We've informed the person who we believe will buy it, and he was hostile, but he understood he had no grounds to use our property. I'm hoping this will be the end of it. Update 2. We're leaving to go out tonight, and we saw the potential buyer on our property with his real estate attorney. We calmly pointed out we had shown them that they didn't have an easement. They were extremely hostile and yelled at us that we couldn't ask them to leave because they had an easement. We reminded them that the easement was from the other property and not ours. The buyer's a real estate developer, and he told us he's going to hire a friend of his who does land surveys to come out tomorrow to say that the easement does come from our property. The surveyors that the real estate developer hired admitted they had no easement through our land and wrote that in his report. The owner's still trying to use our driveway, but the gate stopped him and the cameras have caught him each time he's tried. Hopefully this is all over. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.